In a world where most women are seen as weaker, delicate, or in need of protection, one fighter grew in a home where self-defense and knowledge of martial arts was a way of life, regardless of who you were. Here's where we meet the Fist of Innocence, a karate expert, and then some. Today, fighters, let's meet Hitomi. There's a rather well-known quote that suits this fighter well. Knowing trees, I understand the meaning of patience. Knowing grass, I can appreciate persistence. While Hitomi never set out to make a name for herself initially, she dedicated her life from a young age to prove to herself, and most importantly her father, that she was not only a formidable fighter, but also a woman who could stand on her own. To become skilled enough to do this, she needed a true understanding of patience, persistence, and respect for the ways of a fighter. Hitomi was born in Germany with her Japanese mother and German father. When she was of able age, she began training under her father in the martial art of karate. She proved to take to his training and passion well, for at the age of 18 she had already earned the rank of black belt. Hitomi has the appearance of an athletic, smaller-framed woman with the physique of someone very fit. Despite her Japanese heritage and appearance, she has always seemed to take more to her Western side when it comes to clothing and style. She prefers to compose herself with her signature-style jeans, tank tops, denim jackets, and trusty fighter's gloves. As with the quote from earlier, Hitomi is a very hard-working and serious martial artist, but this does not take away from her notably energetic and friendly demeanor. This can lead many to think of her as a naive newcomer, but her honor to the competition and those who do unjust harm to others have led to plenty of upsets and bruised fighters. Hitomi's appearance in the Dead or Alive series doesn't begin until the third tournament. However, her introduction comes more so in the second tournament. After the events of the first Dead or Alive tournament, Hitomi found a man passed out in the Black Forest, a large forested mountain range in southwestern Germany. Afraid to leave the person alone to possibly die, she takes him home. For her kindness, she learns the man's name is Ein. What she doesn't know is that he had been abandoned there by DOA5LR, or the Dead or Alive Tournament Executive Committee, after the conclusion of their Project Epsilon. With Hitomi, Ein practiced and studied karate until he left to enter the second Dead or Alive tournament, focused on finding out who he was and answers to his lost memories. This was really Hitomi's first taste of the Dead or Alive tournament, and a chance to not only have a taste of some of the best fighters the world had to offer, but also to test her own skills and knowledge to prove if she was as capable as she had hoped to be. She signs up for the third tournament, ready to prove to her father of her skills in karate. This is no small endeavor though, and everyone needs some spare change. So while the tournament is underway, she picks up a job working on the flagship Freedom Survivor as a waitress. Here, she reunites with Ein and meets a newcomer with strange purple hair, the ninja Ayane. She can't help but notice some similarities, and asks Ayane if she is actually Kasumi, not knowing that Ayane is actually her sister, and also not knowing of their troubled past. It angers Ayane, and she challenges Hitomi to a fight. Ayane is surprised of her skill in karate, keeping up with her own ninjutsu. Ein steps in and explains to Hitomi that after the events of the second Dead or Alive tournament, he learned of his true identity, his real name, Hayate, a shinobi leader, and that he and Ayane were ninjas of the Mugen Tenshin clan. Not long after, Hitomi is introduced to Jan Lee, who like her has a deep appreciation for martial arts, and they begin bonding over the discussion. However, her opinion of him was quickly soured over his brutal display of combat against another new fighter, Li Fang. Despite Hitomi's best efforts and skill, she places third in the tournament. Her father, very pleased and impressed by his daughter's fortitude and strength, approves of her decision to leave his dojo and live her life independently. These good feelings and times were not to last. As time passed, so did the hard times on her family's dojo. Falling ill and unable to work, their home became afflicted with financial woes. Hitomi, desperate to help her father, enters the fourth Dead or Alive tournament in hopes of winning the cash prize. Here she once again comes across the fighter Li Fang. Having a friendly dispute over a cabbage, Hitomi wins this fight, but also wins a friend, as her and Li Fang become close friends as a result. Not long after, Hitomi comes across Jan Lee again as well, only after being saved before nearly being eaten by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, of course. While Hitomi did find it strangely cruel to beat such a large reptile into submission, she chastises Jan, showing how much she opposes of an overuse of force. The tournament continues, and leads Hitomi to the DOA Tri-Tower. Hitomi meets with Hayate, once again, and pleads with him to come back with her to her father's dojo, admitting how much she needs him. But Hayate is not Ain, and his own path and future to pursue. As well, this tournament is shown to be a cover-up, and is more of a war than a tournament. Before they part though, Hayate asks her to spar once more, for all time's sake, and she happily accepts. After the spar, they share what brief moments they have left, telling each other to be careful. Hitomi leaves, passing Ayane on the way, doing her best to hide her bittersweet tears from Hayate and herself. With no prize money, and the Dead or Alive tournament effectively destroyed along with DOA, Hitomi returns home to continue living her life as best she can while supporting her family. Whispers stir and revitalizes Hitomi's passion for training and fighting as the 5th Dead or Alive tournament surfaces. Upon discovering this, Hitomi reunites with her fellow Li Fang and set off on a journey together to better themselves and train. Balance and poise are very beneficial to a fighter, and one way to learn this is practicing with the circus. Tight ropes and rolling balls are good, but nothing compares to hand-to-hand combat. This is where Li Fang and Hitomi come across fighters Brad Wong and Elliot, who are on the same journey. Their fight is cut short though, as Zack appears to personally invite them to the Dead or Alive tournament by shooting himself out of an actual human cannon. Not quite ready though, the fighting pair travel to South America to continue their training regiment. Here, they come across Jan Lee, being recruited by Zack to join the same tournament. Seeing such a powerful fighter in the tournament who bested both of them, they decide to spar against each other to test their current fighting levels. They decide afterwards to go their separate ways to pursue their own personalized training, promising to meet each other again in the tournament. The pair split as determined friends. While traveling, Hitomi finds Ayane, who is currently searching for Kasumi. Hitomi, though, ever the friendly fighter, asks Ayane if she is going to enter the 5th tournament as well, only to be declined and teased about her choice of clothing while training. They clash for a moment, but Ayane shortly leaves to continue her important search. With the tournament well underway, Hitomi is matched against a new face in the scene, Mia. While a very skilled fighter, Hitomi bests her in the ring, sealing her victory in the quarterfinals. She then encounters Elliot in the semifinals as well. Not seeing him since their time in the circus, she defeats him, being the winner of the semifinals. Hitomi can barely believe that she is so close to winning, so close to victory after so many fights in the Dead or Alive tournaments leading to this moment. She is met again with someone who pulls at her heartstrings more than anything else, Hayate. She proudly confesses to him that she's but one win away from becoming the champion, and can see that Hayate is definitely proud of her. She asks him to spar with her, telling him that her muscles are strained and tight. He concedes, and gives her as good a fight as he can. After, they wish each other good luck, Hitomi watching as Hayate departs with Ayane once again. With all her training, all her strength and skill, she faces off against her final foe, Jan Lee. They fight hard, remembering all their past battles and fights. Fist against fist, knee against knee, and passion against passion. Despite everything she could muster, she is beaten by Jan Lee and leaves the 5th tournament. But she is not shaken, nor deterred from her path of martial arts, strength, and self-improvement. Her passion, as well as care and love for those around her, have made an incredible and undeniable mark in the Dead or Alive world. Hitomi is one who truly understands and gives substance to the meaning of patience and persistence. Keep fighting, fighters.